You want it told, I'ma tell it. You want it sold, I'ma sell it. If I see it, I'ma tell it. That's right, people, you guessed it right. It's the guy that's big mouth on my talk show. Motor mouth, start your engine. Go on, tell him. I get it in first. I get it in fast. I said the in.
All right, greetings, family. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Today, Bible discussion will be part one, and we're gonna start with First Kings chapter 17, Elijah the prophet. Okay, now Elijah pops on the scene like Melchizedek. No mother, no father, no lineage that we can find in the Bible for Melchizedek or Elijah. Okay, now what we do know about Elijah in the Bible is he shacked up with a woman and her son. The child died. He resurrected the boy. Okay. He goes on to King Ahab. King Ahab is married to a Persian woman by the name of Jezebel. King Ahab and Jezebel is into Baal worship. Okay. So he goes and challenged all 450 of Baal prophets and all 400 of Ashuru prophets to a magic showdown on the mountain. Now, keep in mind, the mountains is where the gods dwell, family, okay? So, King Ahab go back, gather up these prophets, bring them to the mountain, and they begin this magic showdown. Now, okay, here's my dagger, all right? You guys may see this on TV shows and movies and things like that. You'll see people take a dagger or a sharp object, slice themselves, and use the blood along with a chant to summon different spirits, okay? Now, this particular day, they magic didn't work, okay? Maybe Elijah was ciphering their powers or something, who knows, okay? But they could not perform magic. So, Elijah calls on his God, okay, and kaboom, abracadabra, he lights the fire. So he shows off Baal prophets, and then he take all 450 of Baal prophets down by the lake, and he slaughtered them, okay? So after that, Elijah's like, I'm tired, I'm ready to hang up the jersey. I need a promotion. So he travels to Mount Sinai to speak to El Elyon, the Most High God, okay? And Most High God says, granted, okay? You can surely get a promotion, but you know how I like order. You got to go back and establish order, chain of command. So, Elijah goes back. Oh, let me back up. He also give Elijah direct orders to anoint King Ahab, king of Syria, Jehu, king, and Elisha, prophet, to take his place, okay? So he anoints them. Now, keep in mind, family, in history today, we have the Pope, who will be equivalent to Elijah, okay? The advocate, the substitute on earth. And the is actually the vicar, however you want to pronounce it, okay? And you have the kings who is anointed through the church, okay? The Pope, all right? That's, the Pope have the cardinals and all that goes through the school of thought, and they station at each king's court and things like that. Well, it's a reason, and over time you see kings like King Henry, different ones try to do away with the church, but they can't, because they hold claim to the throne is through the church. That's why they try to get bastard kids legitimized that isn't in that ancestor family, because we're going to see this throughout the Bible. In part one, I should break a lot of that down of how is a lot of incest, okay? And we see that today with the kings and queens, like keeping a bloodline pure, this holy bloodline, and we following this bloodline in the Bible also, okay, family? So we see all this playing out today in history that we can witness, all right? So let's speed it on. So Elijah go on his mission, and he go back, and he goes to Elisha first, okay? And Elisha's tilling the garden. That's what God created his slave class for. He went to sleep and he woke up. A mist came up on the garden. He was like, oh, there's no one to till my garden. So what he do? He created man to till his garden. So his servant Elisha is out there tilling the garden, okay? And he get a promotion. And he was like, hey, let me go holler at my family. I'm out. So he's following Elijah, okay? Now, family, Elijah goes on to, by this time, King Ahab dead, okay? His son is in power. I believe you pronounce his name Ahazariah. I've seen it. Depending on which Bible you reading, it's spelled differently, all right? So, however, he's in power now, and he seeks counsel from another god. And Elijah is eavesdropping with his psychic ability, okay? And he's eavesdropping on the king, and he's sent word from a servant. Now, keep in mind, back then, king's subjects was their officers, their troops, and all that. Okay, like today, for example, if the army knocks on your door and say, hey, your son got to go fight this war, you pretty much have no choice. Your son got to go fight the war. It's nothing you can do because your child is a subject, okay? So same thing, like if you hear the officers, I have a subject in a blue shirt, that's a reason, okay? Kings and queens has subjects, and we got to keep in mind it's a different video for a different time, but I am going to break that down because our first president, George Washington, was a monarch, okay? He rode in here on his white horse, okay? He left the throne, and honestly, he wouldn't have made it to be king. Okay. But the point is, he's a monarch, all right? And we're going to break all that stuff down at a later time, all right? But anyways, family, so this king, like, asked the troop, like, what this guy look like? And they was like, oh, he was hairy. You know who else was hairy? The firstborn, Esau. He was hairy too. Anyways, he was hairy. He had this belt around his waist. In some translation, it's a girdle and things like that. And right then, he was like, oh, Elijah. So he tell the troops to go summon Elijah to a meeting. So the troops go and summon Elijah to a meeting. And Elijah used his magic, abracadabra, poof, okay? And burn these troops up, these subjects. He just burned them up. Like they said, a fire god came down on them, okay? Boom. So the king sent 50 more, all right? And same thing. The fire god came down on them. Abracadabra, poof. All right. So 50 more come. Okay. The last set come and they do an act of worship. They bow and they summon Elijah to a meeting. Elijah go to the meeting. Okay. So Elijah have magic powers. Now remember, Moses had magic powers too. He had that staff, that magic wand, okay, and he had the cloak. Don't get it twisted. And what he do? He part the sea. So now Elijah, he goes on. He's trying to make it to his designated spot to catch his flight. Okay, so and the reason I say catching his flight is because, family, you guys got to keep in mind that if we're going to say that he was on a fire chariot, it's safe to say that Santa Claus is going to deliver presents on his sleigh with reindeers, deers, flying in the sky in December. That's basically what we were saying. Chariots was their form of transportation. So this what we call an airplane, okay, this flying object that was in the heavens. And when you read the Bible, you will see when they speak of birds, in the heavens, the birds fly in the heavens. It's the sky. We call it the sky, okay? But they call it the heavens, all right? So these birds are flying in the heavens, and Elisha followed Elijah to a spaceship or airplane, okay? And it took him to another destination. Now, family, let me not skip ahead of myself. So while Elisha is following Elijah, all right, Elijah take the staff and he part the water and the land to make a walkway to catch his flight. Now Elisha, because Elijah told him, you got to see me in order for my spirit to come upon you when I leave. So Elisha followed him, all right? Now, he passed him the cloak, all right? He got the staff, the magic wand, the wooden stick that turned into the snake, okay? So, Elisha part the water in the land. And time going on, okay? And Elisha followers is insisting on going to find Elijah. And first Elisha was like, no. And they was like, yeah, we need Elijah. Now, they witnessed Elisha have Elijah powers or spirit magic, okay? They witnessed this because they said, oh, the spirit of Elijah is upon Elisha. So they know that he can perform the same miracles, but they insisted on going to find Elijah. Now, Elijah is gone to what some of our people say he's in heaven, all right? But he's somewhere on earth. And we know that because he pops up and he writes a letter to the king. So we know he's not in heaven. He's not dead, because people like to say that Elijah died. No, Elijah did not die. He's still on the scene. The servants went to go look for him because they felt that this fire chariot took him, what I call an airplane, to a valley or some mountain somewhere, okay? So they went to look for him. They was unsuccessful, but we know that he's alive and he's on earth because he writes a letter to the king. Boom. Family, so Elisha. Let's speak about Elisha and Elisha powers. Now, Elisha and his magic. Okay, he used some salt to keep the river from drying out. Abracadabra. Boom. Some boys laughing at Elisha, and I guess they called him bald hair or something, and he got angry. He did some magic and made some bears appear, and they ate the boys, okay? So if you don't learn anything else from this video, you know it's safe to say if some kids make you angry, you can feed them to the bears, all right? God prophet did it. He prophesied while someone played the harp, okay? Now, he blessed a woman that he would shack up with sometime, okay? It was a rich woman. Her husband couldn't have a child. He blessed them with this child. The child died. She come to Elisha. Elisha first sent his understudy, Gehazi, with his wooden staff to go and resurrect the boy. Gehazi couldn't get the boy up, okay? So Elisha come and he resurrect the boy. The boy wake up and he sneezed 7 times from the dead, okay? And we know that Elijah raised a woman that he was shacked up with, son from the dead, okay? Now keep in mind that Elisha is an understudy. Elisha is chosen. Like the tribe of Adam, you know, that he's chosen, okay? He's not like Melchizedek and Elijah. It's a difference, okay? I'm going to say this. Should wait till later on in the video. But Melchizedek is actually the angel Michael, okay? When God wanted the law to be laid down and he wanted that serpent, that devil gone from heaven, God didn't put hands on that serpent, okay? That dragon, I'm sorry. When God wanted that dragon kicked out of heaven, that serpent, okay, he did not lay hands on him himself, the El Elyon. He didn't, come off his throne to entertain a peasant, okay? To entertain this dragon. No, he had his chief of security, his commander-in-chief, Michael, okay? And you all gonna get familiar with the angel Gabriel throughout this story also, because Gabriel is the fertility angel, okay? And as I go, we'll get into Raphael and other ones, okay? But this chain of command is important. That's the reason I brought up the chain of command, because that's why we get the watchers and different ones from, because there is a order, okay? And we see this order carried out still today. Now, some stew was bad, and he did some magic and took away the bitterness. It wasn't enough food to feed all the people, and he told them serve the food anyways, and they end up having leftovers, okay? We seen that with Jesus and the fish. Now, his understudy, Gehazi, was cursed with leprosy, and his descendants by Elisha. Now, what happens is a wealthy man comes to Elijah to get healed from leprosy, okay? Elisha tell him, go and dip yourself 7 times in the river or whatnot. And you guys keep up with that. It's the number 7 is used a lot from what I've seen in the Old Testament. All right. He was eavesdropping with his psychic abilities when Gehazi went to the rich man to get the money and goods and things like that, okay? So he seen this eavesdropping with his crystal ball or whatnot, using his psychic abilities, and that's why Gehazi was cursed. He blinded some troops that came to kill him. I don't know why he just didn't kill him then, because prophets are killers. Like I told you guys earlier, what did God tell Elijah to tell Elisha, Jehu, and Hazael? He said for them to kill all of Baal worship. Those that escaped Hazael, Jehu, kill those. Those that escaped Jehu, for Elisha to kill those, okay? He gave him direct orders to go and have that done, all right? Now, he also prophesied to Gehazi that he was going to do some bad things to Israel. He was going to lead Israel into a horrible, horrible place, all right? Ben-Hadad, I think that's how you pronounce his name, sent Hazael to see if he was going to recover from his sickness. Elisha said yes, but he prophesied to Hazael what he was going to do. Hazael ended up killing Ben-Hadad to take the throne. Now, I don't know why Elijah did not anoint Hazael a long time ago before he left to take his flight out, all right? Because that was a direct order from El Elyon himself. So I guess the prophets just do what they want to do. I don't know. But at this point, they just do what they want to do, okay? They slaughtering Baal prophets. They out here just, playing with magic and everything. So, now, let's keep it going. Oh, they made the prophecies of Jezebel and her sons come I don't know if you guys familiar with the story of Jezebel. If you hear people talk about Jezebel today, you would think Jezebel is some type of cum bucket, okay? But the truth is, Jezebel is not a cum bucket. Jezebel is actually a thoroughbred, okay? She is a queen, and she didn't play the radio. What I noticed in this Bible, the women are more vicious than the guys. The guys are pretty weak in the Bible, okay? The women is like, they ain't waiting on no God. And as you see, they don't have faith of a mustard seed. You would see throughout this video that I'm doing that they don't have faith of a mustard seed, okay? And what I don't cover in part 1, part 2, I will cover, okay? So, let's keep it going, family. Jezebel. Let me give y'all a rundown of Jezebel. Jezebel had a innocent man killed because the king wanted his vineyard. He wanted to buy it from this man. This man said no. So her husband was upset. He was crying about it. And she was like, aren't you the king? You know? And he was like, yeah, but he don't want to sell it to me. She was like, psh. So she goes and she have 2 liars to sit in front of him. She was like, hey, we're going to have this dinner and we're going to have these liars to accuse him and we're going to stone him to death. And he took the vineyard. So that's when Elisha and them cursed him because it was like, it's a horrible thing you did. He honestly didn't do it, but his wife did it, so he had to suffer, I guess, for his wife. The kids too, okay? But Jezebel was so hardcore, she wrote a letter to Elijah. And she was like, if I don't kill you by this time tomorrow, I hope that the gods do me 10 times worse than what they was going to do me when I get there. Because my name ain't what it is if I don't have your head. Okay? Jezebel I like Jezebel. I don't know what they talking about Jezebel. But Jezebel didn't play the radio, honey. I probably would be a Jezebel if I was in power because I don't play the radio either. Kudos to Jezebel. So when Elisha dies, family, his people is coming to pay their respects to him, and they see these people carrying this body. You know, this person died. They put the person in the tomb, and the body comes back to life. It's resurrected. Okay. Now, let's go on to Noah and his sons. Right by now, y'all should see all the magic, all the abracadabra in there. All right. So, Noah, his sons are Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, I wanted to break all this down, but part 2, I probably go in depth, okay, into genealogy and everything like that, okay. But we really want to work our way to the line of Shem. All right. Now, some people say that Shem is Melchizedek. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay. It's not. Anyways, Ham is the father of Canaan. Now, you guys know the story. Noah gets drunk. Okay. He's a wino. And his son, Ham, something happened, all right? And he didn't tell his brothers. But somehow his brothers knew that their dad was naked in the tent. So they didn't look at their dad. They just went and got a cover and placed it over their father. And when he woke up, he knew what his son Ham had done to him. Now, it sounds like some penetration going on. Now, Ham done had to penetrate his father to make his father mad enough to curse his kids, his descendants, okay? That's my personal opinion, okay? Read it and take it how you want to. Boom. Now, the reason I'm coming here is, and going through this genealogy, is because Abram marries his half-sister Sarah. Sarah is his half-sister by his daddy. I would go through the whole genealogy. I done wrote it here, y'all. I done did the research. But go do the research for yourself. Sarah is his half-sister, okay? So, of course, you know, Lot is his nephew and everything. God tells him that, hey, you're going to have great nations and da-da this and da-da that. So he leaves. He leaves his fatherland. And y'all know the story about that when he leaves. That's the first time he's called a Hebrew. A woman called him a Hebrew. Sounds like she's saying foreigner. You know, he's sitting by the tree and, you know, the woman said Hebrew. Call him a Hebrew. He's not. He left his fatherland. He's on a. So it sounds like she called him an immigrant, okay? So, anyways, he going on. He's traveling by Canaan. He get to his land. He put the gate around his land and everything like that. And he comes up with this finesse to go to Egypt to finesse the Pharaoh. Now, he was so confident in Sarai's beauty, okay? Because it's not the first time that he does some finesse like this. When they old as Methuselah, he's still talking about, so, oh, we're going to go here and, you know, not unless Sarai can shapeshift and turn herself into something that she's not, okay? They was old as hell, and he's sending her to, you know what I'm saying, finesse people with her beauty, all right? But anyways, so they go to Egypt, and they finesse the Pharaoh. He lies to the Pharaoh or leave out the half truth, okay? He tells the Pharaoh, this is my sister, all right? And the Pharaoh gives him good, you know, he paid him well for his sister to be one of his concubines, all right? So Pharaoh has a dream. His God speaks to him and tell him, hey, this is his wife. So of course, she's one of the Pharaoh's concubines. So, you know, she have handmaids and everything like that. So he tells Abraham, like, you get your sister wife and get the hell away from here. You know, they leave, they have ox, they have gold, they have maize, they have all, and Lot too. Lot got good from the finesse too, okay? Lot, they went separate ways. Lot took his tail to Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. So, what's her face? Oh, her. Yeah. So Sarai barren, and you know, we go through genealogy and everything. We find out that she married to her brother and everything like that. They also tell us that she's barren, so she can't have kids. So she done got this handmaid around 13 years of age, Hagar, okay? She give Hagar to Abraham, and Abraham comes unto Hagar and Hagar has Abraham's first biological child. All right, now, family, that's important. Y'all know that story. Hagar leaves, she run away or whatever, and, you know, God speaks to her like, hey, go back, your son gonna have many nations, this is that, you know, he tell them all that, okay? Well, most of them. So she goes back, she turns the other cheek, okay, and, you know, put the sentence up for her son. Now, so by this time, Abraham gets word that his nephew is a prisoner of war, okay? What's going to happen around this time is the four kings have came and took over Sodom and Gomorrah, okay? His nephew is a prisoner of war, so Abraham gets his servants together. They go and they take down the four kings. Now, that's when Melchizedek come on the scene, okay? Melchizedek pops up, bring the bread and the wine to celebrate Abraham's little victory and whatnot with the four kings and everything, and he blesses Abraham. Now, well, he's still Abram at this time. So, family, what y'all got to keep in mind, Melchizedek is the first priest and king, okay? Keep that in mind. We all know a lot of events happen in the meantime, in between time.